I heard from a friend in Pittsburgh. We can book ourselves a few more matches, you know, for the road. I mean, nothing serious, you know, just money for the road.
I hate Pittsburgh.
There's a lot of horny broads there. I think it has to do with all the rusty river water, you know, lots of iron.
Why don't you ask Satch? You guys were going to be partners once, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Come on, we got to shake it.
Sure, Eddie. I guess we're the closing act again, eh, Eddie?
Some killer, all right. Can't sing much lower than the bottom. It's like I always say, you get what you deserve.
Yeah, but don't forget, Satch made us some money. A lot of bucks, you know? A lot of sucker bets.
Yeah, I know.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Take it easy, will ya?
You're a real bastard, huh?
Watch it! You're trampling on my feet.
I should have punched his lights out, the lousy prick. Talking about you that way. I'm standing right there.
Quit fretting. Eddie's Eddie. Oh, he always talks about me that way.
Why'd you ever marry that bald-headed shitwad?
Oh, I fell in love.
Still love me?
Yeah, sure, Satchy. We still going on a honeymoon like you promised?
Right after I take the dive, you're gonna be my Bermuda mama.
Got our passports?
Yeah. About taking my clothes off. You know the way I mean.
Yeah, sure, Satchy. Did you get the money?
Eddie said you'd be asking about that sooner or later.
Figures the prick. Eddie's always cracking wise, you know. All I know is, I love you.
And we're still getting married?
You bet. Right afterwards. So, where is it? Where's the money? A fiancé has the right to know.
It's under the bed.
Oh, you're such a tease.
Hey. I don't feel so good. I'm kinda fuzzy.
Satch. Satch! Moron.
Such a show of passion. It warms my heart.
Muley, what the hell are you doing here?
Same thing as you. Einstein, he ain't.
Hey, that ain't yours.
Oh, I'm sure you would have given Satch his fair share. Of course, I'd be willing to give up a share of it for a little share of you.
In your dreams. Fuck off.
Always the lady.
Come on, Muley. You can't leave me out in the cold.
You know, I figured this belongs to me. I mean, Satch and I, we were going to be like partners. So I figured this is like damages for lost business.
Guess it always comes down to money, doesn't it, Muley? What'd you do? Blow it all at the track?
Imagine that. Too bad for me. Not a penny left. But the bottom line is the bottom line.
What makes you think I'm gonna stand here like a fucking
statue.
See you around, Betty.
Eddie bought it for me. For moments like this.
You ain't got the balls.
You okay, Muley?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you.
She's cute.
Yeah.
How's such?
He's fine, you know? He's fine.
You're looking a little green this morning, Muley. You feel okay?
Yeah. I just, you know, I couldn't sleep, that's all, you know? Just couldn't sleep.
You just can't stay away from the booze, can you?
No, I just couldn't sleep, that's all. Couldn't sleep. Seems hazy in here, Eddie.
Hazy?
Yeah, I can't even see how fast I'm going.
Normally that asinine remark would piss me off, but right now I could care less. It's gonna be over soon, Muley. Finished. Final round to an endless parade of smelly locker rooms.
It's been a while, huh? It's been a while.
6 long, stinking years of excess testosterone. But after tonight, it's gonna be exotic women and beautiful sunsets and golden beaches.
Sounds real good, Eddie. Real good.
Hope you've been staying away from the ponies, saving your dinero.
You bet, Eddie. Sure thing.
All we gotta do is keep the golden goose out of trouble for one more lousy night. That stupid son of a bitch. I mean, how many times have I got to tell him before it gets through that thick skull of his?
I don't know. I mean, Betty, she's okay, you know?
Oh, okay, my ass. She's using him just like she uses everybody. I mean, you guys were like brothers before she came along.
That was some time ago, you know? Some time ago.
Muley, will you pay attention to what you're saying and quit repeating yourself? It's beginning to annoy the hell out of me. That was the motel. Now, you see? Now I'm starting to get aggravated.
Sorry, Eddie. I'll go around the block.
Yeah, one more time, Muley. One more time. Open up the goddamn door, you lame brain. Son of a bitch is out like a dead fish.
Use your key.
If I had a key, we'd be in the goddamn room by now. The son of a bitch got pissed at me last night and took it.
Satch, you okay? It's us.
If you don't open up this goddamn door, I'm gonna kick it in.
Come on, Satch. We gotta get in some training, you know? Go over the routine.
You wanna go out in a blaze of glory, don't you?
No gym. No training. No way.
Man, a few words. Oh, no, Satch. Come on. Take a shower, and we'll go grab some breakfast.
No, don't feel good. Oh.
You feel better after breakfast. You know, a hearty breakfast.
What are you, his mother? Come on, damn it, get your ass moving. We've got a lot of work to do, and you've got to put on a good show.
I always put on a good show.
That's right. Always a good show.
Yeah? I bet you don't even remember when to take the fall.
Right after the body slam. No, wait. The pile driver.
You want to guess again?
It's a scorpion deathlock, Eddie, but Satch knows. He's just clowning around like always. He knows.
I don't feel so good.
You get what you deserve. Get him some aspirin, Muley. While you're at it, give me a couple too, will you? This is gonna be a lousy day. I can just feel it. Did you hear me, Muley?
Oh, guts.
Go get him some drugs. What the hell kind of trainer are you, anyway? Besides, we gotta talk. Is your brain working? I mean, is it functioning at all? Look, Satch. After tonight, it's gonna be all over between us. You understand that? You, me, and Muley, no more, kid. You got it?
I don't need any of you. I have Betty.
Oh, you ain't got Betty. You ain't got nothing. You got shit. You are gonna have to help you. Satch is gonna have to help Satch.
Betty will take care of me.
Muley? What? You couldn't find the expert? What's the matter with you? I'll get it myself.
What's the matter, Eddie?
I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
I don't remember none of it. I swear.
What are we gonna do, Eddie? What?
Whatever we do, we gotta keep it quiet until after the match.
I don't want to wrestle no more, Eddie. Please, my heart's not in it.
Got to! We got a lot of money at stake here. And besides, Satch, you're gonna need the best lawyer your money can buy.
I don't remember none of it, Eddie. All I know is I didn't do it.
He could plead temporary insanity, you know? Temporary.
Jesus.
Housekeeping.
Not now. We're fine. Everything's okay. We don't need your help. Everything's nice and clean. Did you hear me? Comprende?
Yeah, very well. I come back later.
Don't make it tomorrow.
Tomato?
Tomorrow. Well, that's just peachy keen.
Should have given her a tip. She'll be back again. She'll be back.
Didn't I tell you, Satch? Didn't I tell you to stay away from Betty? Didn't I tell you she was trouble?
She said she loved me. We were going to get married and go on a honeymoon.
Oh, pull yourself together, goddammit!
You're just jealous. But she loved me and not you no more.
Satch, she was my ex-wife. Don't you get it? I was glad to get rid of her. She was a pain in my ass.
No, she wasn't. She was no pain in the ass.
But she's not be a pain in the ass to anyone anymore.
You couldn't leave well enough alone, could you? You had to play footsie with Satch. You had to hang around and irritate the crap out of me. And you got yourself killed. I know you were up to something. What the hell did you do? What the hell did you do, you selfish, greedy, gold-digging? I killed you myself!
What are you doing?
Nothing. Nothing. She always causes problems, even now. We gotta get rid of her and get the hell out of here.
You didn't do it, Eddie.
Oh, sure you didn't.
I've been trying to remember.
So we gotta keep our wits about us and not do anything stupid that'll attract attention. Like loading my dead ex-wife in the van in broad daylight.
We could wrap her in a blanket, Eddie.
Muley, go unlock the van. And don't let anybody see you. You got it?
I can't, Eddie. I'm shaking like a leaf. I know.
All right. I'll go. You just keep an eye on Satch. And whatever you do, don't let the goddamn maid in.
Hey,
What?
you feeling all right?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I was afraid you might be sick.
No.
Like your friend Muley was last night.
Muley?
I was on my way back from shooting a few over at Mitzi's, and I see your friend there being sick all over the car. He looked just terrible, he did. I never saw a man look so bad, white as a ghost. Jesus, Muley, what's the matter with you? You look terrible, man. You just look god-awful.
Yeah, I know I look awful. Okay, I got that. Just get out of here, old man.
Get out of here, old man. That's all I say is get out of here, old man.
Just, will you please just leave me alone, okay?
I hope you're all right.
Yeah, I'm all right. Just okay. Well, you're all right too. So just go.
I thought he was going to pass out right in front of me. He said it was some kind of medical condition. I didn't ask him about it, though. I don't like to be too nosy. He is going to be all right, ain't he?
Oh, yeah. He'll be fine.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. I was sure worried about
Thank
it.
you. What the hell were you doing here last night, Muley?
That's close enough.
Why? What the hell happened?
Shit! Muley!
What the fuck are you doing?
Fine!
No!
Damn you!
I mean, she came at me, Satch. We fought. Next thing I know, she was dead. I mean, you know, her neck snapped. It was an accident, Satch. I never meant her any harm. And, you know, I dragged your body into the bathroom. I tried to make it look like an accident.
You mean Betty never really loved me?
No shit.
All she wanted was my money?
All I wanted was for us to be partners, you know?
Save the romance. We've got a dead body to deal with.
Muley? Was it like you said?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Betty's dead now. She's gone. I mean, she's gone.
Muley said it was an accident. And I believe him.
Nothing to do but move on, you know? Move on.
Yeah. Maybe to Pittsburgh.
Yes, yes, Pittsburgh, you know, like we talked about. I mean, me and you, you're partners. What do you say?
Hey! Where do you guys think you're going? You can't leave me here like this with her.
Hey, she's your ex-wife.
I'll call the cops on you, Muley, so help me.
I'd think twice about that, Eddie.
Your fingerprints are all around the shower curtain and around her. I mean, what do they call it, like DNA or something?
Yeah, Muley. Something like that.
We saw you doing it. Ain't that right, Satch?
Doesn't look too good.
Not at all.
But I found out
Not at
I
all.
should have known what you're about. I should have known.
Those American pigs, they're gonna make me pick vodka for a sure tonight.
Surprised that I don't believe
What is this? More meds for me to clean?
I can't believe you're doing this, Muley.
Well, we sort of figured you killed her long ago.
Oh, yeah?
Like you always say, Eddie, You always get what you deserve.
Don't believe you. Don't believe you. I should have known how to react. I should have known I can't go back. I should have known it all came around. I should have known I'm falling down and I don't believe you. Don't believe you. I should have known. I should have known. I should have known.
Nick contacted me regarding this project he was doing, and he told me about the idea of shooting a film that would be fully digital, being shot on digital cameras, edited digitally, and outputted and shown in a digital environment.
I had been married before, and there's a lot of emotional baggage, that you carry along. So I was inspired to write this script, Wrestler and the Babe.
And I sort of liked the idea.
Ideas come from strange places sometimes.
Okay, here we go. Let me know.
Started out in Iceland shooting Super 8 films, and then they had to be sent to either England or Denmark, and that took like 2 weeks. And then I got it, and I could splice it together with a tape, and if I was lucky I hadn't ruined the whole film before I saw anything, handling the film and all that stuff. Be able to shoot and then edit, look at it over and over again, edit it, change it, edit again, and still you have the same quality as what you saw when you shot it. Well, the learning experience is so much faster. You see the process so fast.
It's content, and without content you really have nothing. You just have a lot of sizzle. But the digital technology does allow you to be able to actually create something and put something together for very little money, providing that you have some idea of what you're doing, and you get enough talented people around you, because you can't do it yourself.
This isn't how it's supposed to work, but hey, it works, and you're supposed to have $1,000 matte box with all this, nice 4x4 filters, a case full of them, but until you get the money, that's what you have, so we'll have to use that.
There's too many jobs, there's too many disciplines, there's too many crafts involved, and As a director or a producer, I try to have an overall view of how all the functions work. And having gone through film school, you get to do a lot of everything, so you have an idea when somebody comes to you.
And it's not a tool to go crazy with and think that you don't have to think at all. Just use the digital equipment. You apply all your old ideas and you apply all what you have accumulated over the years in learning experience. But it's a great opportunity to be a part of a process that is simpler. It's really a simple process compared to what I used to do when I started out.
And fortunately, everybody liked the script, and without the solid foundation, you're not going to get really a lot of support, but it kind of snowballed. I got the script together and I started showing people, and the reaction I got was good, and somebody else's reaction was good, and it just kind of grows.
Is that Robert De Niro?
Basically, directing is a very collaborative medium, because without the good talent both in acting and in crew with you, and of course the enthusiasm and the want to work on this project is extremely important, because when you make a show, you're putting in a lot of long hours. It's very grueling. There's a lot of stress. There's temperaments. You have to really believe in the project in order to go through this process. And you have to get other people around you and get them enthused enough about the project to want to follow behind you and help you.
I guess one of the best things that we did was get a hold of a van. And it was a bright yellow van that I guess it's an old school bus of sorts. We took it and rented this thing, and we had to like decorate it and make it look like this wrestling match band that was going to be taking the wrestler to the match. And what we did was we cut out some stuff, we made some logos, and we plastered them all around the van, on the front and the back. And then what we did is we took it and tried to make it look dirty and like it's really used, and these people have been living out of this van for a long time. We ended up getting mud and throwing it at the van, water and messing it up, and that was Eyal's favorite part. That's what he loved to do.
You have to be very flexible when you're shooting. I started out with a lot of time on the storyboard and laying the show out, and this becomes a good starting point. When you actually get on this set, then you have to start weighing a lot of things. How much time is it taking you to actually lay down these shots? What can you do to simplify it? It's very important, schedule and budget, as well as the creative side. So it's always a juggling act. And the key word from the beginning, once it starts in your head, to the final end product is really compromise. And you try to keep on the straight and narrow course as much as you can. But then along the way, there's a lot of happy accidents. People come up with ideas, and you say, that's great, let's incorporate that into what we're using. So the idea is to start with a script that's functional and workable, and then everybody has to add their own thing on top of it, layer after layer after layer. Hopefully you'll end up with a good project. The acting is extremely critical, because you can have whatever script or whatever. If the people don't believe the actors, they're only going to go so far, and that's it.
You see the sweat? The director likes the sweat. You see the sweat?
So the actors have to be good, believable. You have to sympathize, care with the actors, or you can hate the actors, but as long as there's some sort of emotional reaction there, otherwise you don't really have much of anything.
Nick and we talked about the look of Chinatown. I looked at it and I liked the way they did the handheld stuff. I felt that it didn't really carry the atmosphere of the story that Nick had written, which is, a great small story, and it's cleverly written and cleverly conceived, the plot and how the characters interact. And I remember this film directed by Stephen Frears called The Grifters, and which I looked at more closely, and it fitted the story we had. It has this film noir look, also impressionistic lighting. I tried to incorporate some of my ideas from that film into this film, since this was supposed to be an experience with the teaching element. We're gonna work with film students and we're gonna work things out, not make this a whole professional experience, but a whole professional teaching experience. Normally when you are in a somewhat controlled situation, on stage, with a back projection or a rear projection, but in these kind of situations you really have to work with what you have. It's all possible. It's all possible to shoot hanging outside window. It is possible, and it's being done every day in film. It's not very controlled, and you have to be careful to execute it within the limits of what can be done. And I'm not sure that I did that, but almost, I think.
My name is Sang-won Lee. I was the gaffer in the show, The Wrestler and the Babe. My job was setting the lighting,
striking,
smoking all the location. In this show, the DP and I have some kind of a challenge to get the film-looking image. To get the film-looking image, we just use the less lighting to get more grain and use a lot of smoke in the location. And most of all, we use the Tiffin Folk 2 filter to get the real film-looking image. And I just realized that the digital camcorder is more sensitive than film itself, even the color.
And I love film. I started out with film. But what digital video does, it gives you a great crisp image, broadcast quality image for a very affordable price. Raw stock or the original footage that you go buy before you put any images on it is like maybe $10, $12 for an hour's worth of material, as opposed to film, which is $100 just for the material itself for 10 minutes. So it gives you the advantage of being able to shoot more, get a little bit more coverage. If the acting isn't quite where you want it to be, you can always roll another one. But if you're working on a tight film budget where you're using short ends or whatever you're doing, then it's one or two takes, and then you're off to the next scene and hope it all sort of comes together.
First of all, I started out by filtering down the image quite heavily, and I used just a fog filter, which would be a no-no for film. You would totally wreck the image. But what video can do is that afterwards, in the post-production process, you can sort of adjust for that by bringing in blacks, thus creating more noise and getting a little bit sharper image. Take down that fog element, and then you have the so-called film look, and you get a soft edge.
You know, directing is really such a strange sort of thing. I like to keep a very positive kind of attitude because humor is very important, especially under stress. So humor and movement forward, try to keep everything going forward, try to keep a happy crew. You know, I talk to everybody individually to see whatever I can do to help to make them feel good about what they're doing, because if they're feeling good about what they're doing, then the end product, which is the project, that's the most crucial, most important thing. The end product should be, better. Everybody will add on their thing and will feel good about adding on their thing.
We needed an overhead shot, and we didn't have high ceilings, we didn't have movable ceilings. So I couldn't go up on a ladder and stay high above. So you use what you got. C-stand with a little bit of gaffer's tape, a little bit of clamps, to hold the camera, and a rubber band to take care of it so it doesn't fall on the actor. That's the beauty of those small, sort of commercial-like cameras. They come with a remote control, and they come in handy. I could stay comfortably on the floor of the apartment or the motel, look at the monitor and just push the button, instead of actually climbing up there, for each instance and probably ruining your frame, while you're doing that.
My name is Daniel Ujago. I was the first assistant camera in The Wrestler and the Babe. We did this project as an experimental project. What we try to achieve is to shoot digital film style. We used a lot of filters to create illusion of the film style, just to see how each of the shots will come out. We also use a lot of fog for the night scene to create that film style.
When I first started shooting, it was like every scene you wanted to cover from 40 different angles. But after a while, you learn that's not possible. And then you try to simplify and then lay a judgment on the scene. What are we trying to get out of the scene? How efficiently can we tell this scene? If we can do it in one shot and the acting plays, if it's a two-shot and the reaction shots and the acting is right on, there's no point in going in for close-up if it works. So some scenes you can get one or two shots, no problem, and you're covering your point. Other scenes are more intricate and you have to spend more time and get the more detailed, the more cutaway shots, basically to build up a rhythm and a pace. If you have one shot that's locked down, you've tried to create the rhythm and the pace within the acting. Also, you can shoot more footage, and then you can editorially pace it, which gives you a little bit more, more control. But if it looks good and the pacing is right on, you don't want to mess it with it. You want to say thank you and move on.
It's a bad working experience just walking into a set and saying, on the day that you're starting a shoot, oops, the walls are too bright. You really have to think about this beforehand. We had a good opportunity to doing that because we had a good storyboard. So we knew how the frames would be. We had the opportunity to look at the rooms, look at different locations. We could select the right thing to shoot in. Unfortunately, we couldn't paint it to help out with the lighting.
Addi has the experience and expertise to come in and oversee basically a group of students, high level students, but still students, and make it kind of all gel and work. Because the important thing is getting everybody together and working as a unit, as a team, as a family. It's really a family situation. I have to act as father confessor or whatever I have to do in order to make things, like I said, move forward and complete the show. I'd like to keep the crew around 10, 12 people, and I think at the most we had maybe 15, 16 people, including the actors, in any particular one day.
This is supposed to be a low key. How do I do that with a white-walled room? To add contrast and to make low-key images, you have to work closely with the art designer. You really have to think ahead. You'll have to use stronger light sources, narrower light sources, and you can't work with soft light a lot. So you need more control, and you need to work more closely with the actors and the directors to block the scenes before you actually light it, because you can't really preset narrow spotlights when you don't know where the actors are going to be.
Scene 19, beta, take 2. Action.
My name is Jyrki Rantasuo. I was the script supervisor on this project. My duties included making sure that everything that had to be shot within a particular day did get shot and did get shot in the proper way. I also worked closely with the UPM to make sure that everything got shot in the proper order. I also made a lot of notes. After each shot, I would describe what happened in the shot and if it was any good and if there was any particular detail in the shot that the editor would be interested in. I had to do this with pen and paper. This was a bit strange for me because previous times that I worked with Nick, we've always worked with computers, but I think I got everything written down the way it should have been.
Rolling. Scene 19, take 9.
Directing and editing are basically the flip side of the same thing. They're two opposite ends of the same coin. As a director, you have to know what coverage to get in order to be able to piece it together. So as a director, you're really getting pieces for the editors. Because if you go crazy and do this and do that, and then try to hopefully put it together in the editing room, that's really not a way to go. So you have to kind of pre-plan, which is the storyboard. The storyboard allows you to, figure out what shots you'll need, and then editorially you have to think in your mind how all the pieces are going to, come together. That's how I think in terms of editing, getting the material for the editor so he can put it together.
Yeah, let them, instead of rushing.
Getting a low-key image, getting a good separation from the walls, making this small room appear to be like this mystifying element in the picture, which is supposed to be, and to recreate different looks in the room, because we're only talking about 16 by 16 foot set of walls, and you have to recreate 4 different lighting schemes going on, for day, for night, for midday, and so on and so forth. So I couldn't really differentiate between what's more difficult than the other or what's more challenging. You take a look at your scene that you have to do, and you really have to dig hard for every single frame. One aspect of it that I could account for being the most challenging, and that's the aspect of keeping the continuity. It's so often forgotten that you see DPs set up for great master shots. They have this excellent lighting schemes figured out, and then this scene follows the master shots, and then you start to see all sorts of mishaps, and they don't make their continuity right. So instead of lighting for a great master shot, you have to be lighting for the whole scene. It has to work from A to Z. The smoke is more intended to try to create depth. Then we get into the aspect of the video look versus the film look. Obviously everyone wants to get the film look for the video. It's a completely different process, the video image and the film image. But you can sort of help it by adding smoke into an atmosphere or a room, and it creates this depth that the video doesn't have. And also by squeaking the video signal a little bit, you can create a little noise in the image and go a little bit away from this clarity that video has and this lack of non-focus. Because when you see a video image, if you look at the background, it's almost in focus, and I'm in focus, and even this is in focus. But in film you see it differently. You can separate foreground from background.
The first thing, you have a script laying in front of you, you're looking at it and trying to think about it, you start listening to some music, all of a sudden you're starting to see it in your mind. Sound is 50% of the experience. You have 50% picture, 50% sound, and without sound, if it's not there or not supporting the picture, it can almost totally destroy a good film. So music is extremely important. It really, it's an extension of adding more texture, more mood, saying something, whether it's with the images or against the images. You're adding another layer to it.
Thank you. I'm gonna make sure I didn't dip in there. You want to do a playback? Because at one point I went quite close to the frame line, I'm sure.
One of the nice gizmos this camera has, and some of the other commercial ones out there, is a stabilizing system. It works that way. It actually stabilizes the movement, the body movement of you holding the camera. So it makes for a better and steadier handheld shot. And this camera has it incorporated in the lens, so it's an optical image stabilization, which is a first for this kind of camera. And it's really the best stabilizing system you can get, because it's not a digital stabilizing system which really degrades the image, but this one does it without degrading the image. So you can use it for, well, almost all of your handheld shots. But still, you have to use it with caution because it adds this floating element to the picture and it can be annoying. So sometimes I used it, sometimes I didn't, because sometimes you just want to feel the handheldness, and if so, then it's not the right time to use it. Inside the vehicle, it really comes in handy to have a thing like that, because you can handheld the camera, and I handheld the camera for every shot there. But it almost appears like it's on a tripod. But you couldn't use a tripod because you're in a moving vehicle and it makes all those bumps, and so tripod is a no-go.
Film is basically visual, obviously, and the pacing or the cutting and the rhythm, it's like music. It's almost like music. So you have to know when to, build it up or pace it up. You have to know when to slow it down. And it's almost like sitting at a piano and sort of like kind of scoring it. And that's what you kind of do with your shots. You try to visually score the picture in a sense.
And we're cut.
Storyboard eventually should always be just a starting point. I'm not saying that the storyboard isn't necessary. It's really necessary to get you to think about the film, to get you to think about the scenes, how they will play. But it shouldn't be a ironclad, nailed down image. You shouldn't produce the image that's in the storyboard. You should produce something derived from that. And you're working together with the director. You should actually use your intuitive. The director should use his, and you should work together and create something better than the storyboard.
Okay, we're out of light.
All right, when do you guys want to make this one?
Okay, so I guess that's it for that scene.
The janitor comes upon one of these godlike creatures. They're higher than he is. They're bigger people than his small life, and people he admires. And he wants to be helpful. He'd like to be helpful. He wants to be part of their life. They're TV stars, after all. They're wrestlers. They're big time. He's just a janitor, a very simple man who leads a simple life, but wants to be helpful, wants to touch the bigger life around him, which is somewhat similar, I suppose, to the part that I played when I worked with Alfred Hitchcock in The Birds. A simple person, again.
That's a wrap on Martin for the production. Yay!
There's all different kind of actors, and like actors are people, and they all have their individual strengths and their individual weaknesses. So you're kind of there to pull the best out of them. You want to accentuate the positive and sort of eliminate the negative. And you have to be open to the actors. You can't treat them as props. You have to create kind of an emotional bond between the two of you. You have to let them know that they can come to you and say, almost anything, and that you're open to their suggestions or ideas. Casting is extremely important because it's like 90% of directing, basically, because if you hire the right person for that part and then allow them to bring more of themselves to the role, that's a very good positive start. So that's my kind of approach, and then I learned to tweak it. It's like, a giant thing of clay, sort of like shape it a little bit here, shape it a little bit there, and then kind of go with it that way.
I loved the title, The Wrestler and the Babe. I said to him, well, am I the wrestler or the babe? Nick gives me real good characters to play. She's a street babe, pretty tough, which is fun. I like to do either slapstick comedy or, real tough, bizarre, psychotic street babes. Another scene that was kind of interesting was the scene in the bathroom because it was such close proximity. We had crew and the actors and everybody in there at the same time, and it was very, very warm and very close. And, we could tell what kind of deodorant the other guy was wearing.
And I think a good cameraman should be able to work in a very controlled environment, creating exactly the frame that the director wants him to. But he should also be able to take off and really create something better than is conceived when it's in the conceiving stages.
Your DP is your strongest ally. It's very important that you have great communications between you and the cameraman. At times, I'll look at him and he knows exactly what I want, or he'll look at me and I'll go, oh, okay. Also, an agreeance to the approach, the aesthetics of the show. What kind of approach are you taking? This one is like more sort of film noir-ish, you know, lower key, or if it's a comedy, upright. Are we going to do a lot of handheld stuff? Are we going to do a lot of crane or dolly movement? What's the approach? What kind of a mood? Also the mood as a whole, because you have to not look at only individual scenes and how you want to portray them, but you have to kind of look at the piece as a whole to make sure that all those individual scenes will come together. Otherwise it can be up and down and sort of, you know, you can lose continuity.
Okay, is there a student discount by any chance?
Okay, so we'll start at 16 for 16.
Each director brings a different point of view to an image making. There are rules, there are facts that you have to accommodate into your project, but each director really takes the project on a different level than some other director would do. Good director is not the ruler of the film crew. He's not the person that knows everything. He should be the person that knows the difference between good, mediocre or bad ideas. And he should be allowed to take any idea and make it into his own, just for the benefit of the film. I mean it for DPs as well. More than 50% of the working experience and the creation of the image and the film is people coming together and you know, understanding and talking to each other and not letting the ego conflicts getting in the way. When you get into the working atmosphere, everyone should be able to deliver his job. That's what's requested of them. But they should also be able to be a pal, be a friend, be a supporting element of the film or of the next person that needs it. In a working condition of working 14 hours a day, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of demand, and there's a lot of pressure on each individual. And there's a good working practice to be able to recognize when people are under a lot of stress.
Because I also wrote the script, you have to kind of like divorce yourself of that. The minute you finish the script, you have to say, oh, okay, I'm not the writer anymore, you know, I'm the director or the producer. How can I take this and improve upon it? And I start out by trying to visualize the script first, and I'll do a breakdown shot by shot, and I'm looking for the beats and the natural movement and the rhythms of the people within the scene, how the scene should be blocked. And then I write down little notes and descriptions, like from here to here, we need a wider shot, lower angle, and this shot here, this calls for like a moving shot. This scene should be nice and calm, and this one, something happens, so this one should be hectic, a lot of handheld kind of movement.
I just leave the script alone, leave the character alone, and go off on my own and start building a history for this guy. From, say, the time he was 7 years old up until present. And I handwrite this whole thing out on scratch paper. And I worked him up to present day, and now I've got something to fall back on when I go into the actual scene work. Something in there that I just inadvertently thought about might work psychologically with the character in the scene. You can't just stop and think out every little thing that you're going to do, because you don't know what that other actor's going to do. And you've got to play off the other actor. And I like to get that sense from the actor and then give him something back. Quite frankly, that happened a lot in this production.
There's a lot of time that's sort of free, but it's not free. So what do people do with that time? Do they go outside, take a smoke and chat? no. You have to be able to understand that a good gaffer, for instance, or a good grip is there the same second he is available to get you that thing that you need. And that's just his job. There is no beating around that. He should be there. So that's a big issue. I mean, to being able to relax and stay focused, even if you have to sit around for 1 hour, not doing anything, not start doing your smoky thing and telling jokes, and everyone's laughing while the actors and the director and the DP is trying to focus on what really matters. So that's a big important factor of any crew member, being ready.
Part of our techniques and the technology allows is to run down to Venice Beach, pull your actors aside, spread your crew around so they look like tourists as best as you can, and then block out the scene, and then when you're ready for it and everybody feels comfortable, boom, you go in there, you can do it, and you do it low key. So that technology allows you to take smaller cameras into various places where before you needed a whole crew, and then which becomes really the biggest problem with filmmaking is it's so logistical. Everything is logistics and scheduling and 40 million details and props and everybody's personalities. It's like a traveling circus. It's really a traveling circus. And then you have sort of the ringmaster, I guess, and then who sort of leads the circus from town to town. And then you come into a new location or a new town, and then you have to put up the tent, so to speak, recreate a sense of reality of the set of where you're shooting. And then after you're finished, then you strike the tent and wrap everything up and go on to the next town or the next location.
I had a great time on the set. Everybody was wonderful. Nice crew, nice actors.
I ask them to bathe daily and use a lot of body deodorants and antiperspirants, because that's really the key thing to making a film a success.
It's filmmaking at its finest.
You know, you can't drop your priority because the budget is not there. You got to bring the same work as an actor.
Really glad to work with the crew member and DP producer, director, and I really enjoyed the moment.
Movies, it's my life. Digital has certain advantages, and one of them is that you can actually go out and shoot a feature film, and the raw stock won't cost you an arm and a leg. It's getting the right people and the right crew together. If you can accomplish that, you can do it cheaply. And this allows you to be able to at least get the show in the can and finished, rather than going around talking about it, trying to get people to put up money. You can at least go out and do it. The sky's the limit if you have the inclination and the energy, and you can organize, and you have the drive for it.